All right, welcome everyone to our live session of creativity and intuition. I'm happy to see you guys here. I'm gonna let everyone, I think everyone's logged in so far. Okay, so I'm just gonna share my screen real quick and go over our agenda for today. So just give me one moment. All right, so today we are doing creativity and tuition. So we'll start with a brief welcome, allow people to join. Then we will have live collective meditation. We'll be using Bhavanam Kevalam, followed by silent meditation. So we do about 7.5 minutes of kirtan, followed by 7.5 minutes of silent meditation. Then we'll have a presentation of creativity and intuition. Oh, I left out the breakout room. Sorry. We will have a breakout room, and then we will have then we will have some time for Q&A, and then we're going to have a live song, Love is Everywhere, and another opportunity for questions in a group share, followed by a closing waterfall and announcements. So looking forward, just allowing people to get joined today, and really looking forward to Dada's presentation today. We've had, for people that were here, our last couple lives, we had a mall talking about intuition, and last week we had a really dynamic interview with Astarami. So it'll be great to have another perspective of intuition. And I think Dada is one of the most creative individuals I know. So he has a beautiful creative mind. So I think he has a really dynamic presentation. And we'll should we give everybody another minute or two, Karun, to join? Or should we start with our kirtan?
I think we might as well start with kirtan.
Okay, that sounds good. So Dada, are you ready?
I am indeed.
Fantastic. All right, Dada, you're on. Thank you.
Greetings, everyone. I'm in Brazil at the moment, so it's a little bit of a different setup and a different time of day for me. It's actually better. It's not as super early in the morning. And and it's summer here, so it's only, if you're in the northern hemisphere, it's a bit different. So we're going to have a little kirtan and meditation here. Baba Namo Kevalam, 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 Just sit straight and keep your eyes closed. Breathe through your nose. Relax your shoulders. Let the mantra, Bhavanam Kevalam, with the music, continue in your mind so you're listening to it. And then feel that this mantra is leading you to the place within you where you feel connected to the divine, to limitless love and awareness. Baba Namo Kerala, Baba Namo Kerala, Baba Namo Kerala. Namaskar. So today I'm going to explain something about intuition and creativity. And I'm going to show you some pictures. Give me a moment. Here we go. So this is one of my favorite topics or ideas that I love to explore. And one of the reasons is that actually I was interested in creative work like painting. You know, as children we all paint, and that fascinated me, just that you could create pictures with different materials, and I became really interested. That was the first art form I was really interested. Well, music as well, from when I was about 5. And then later on I became very interested in creative writing. So I was really into several different art forms. But the big unanswered question for me, which nobody seemed to address, was what is creativity? Where does it come from? Where do ideas come from? And nobody seemed to know. So I didn't have an answer, but when I started practicing meditation, but that's not me in the picture, by the way. I was never that cute. But yeah, but I wondered. I used to wonder like that as a child, and when I started practicing meditation, I really liked the meditation, but I had no idea that it was connected to creativity. But after I'd been meditating regularly and doing a lot of meditation, pretty much about 2 hours a day I was doing from early on, after a couple of months, I found that it completely changed the way that I experienced playing music. So I was learning a piece by Beethoven, his first sonata, and I remember sitting at the piano one day and playing this piece, which is extraordinarily beautiful, and it became ecstatic. It was like the most beautiful thing I'd ever experienced, and I was filled with ecstasy, and I felt like I was feeling what Beethoven felt when he wrote the music. And my hair was standing on end, and I was so full of joy and energy, I actually couldn't play the piano anymore. I had to go and run outside to just sort of get this energy out of my system. It was really powerful. And later, when I was thinking about it, I thought, this meditation's doing something to me unexpected. Later on, I learned, yeah, meditation, certainly, especially of particular meditative techniques, which includes the ones that we learn quite early on in Nandamaga, they can connect us to the creative part of our minds. And I learned about this in I'll come to that in a second. Yeah, I learned about this in the theory of koshas, or levels of mind, which we'll look at in a minute. But the next phenomena that really interested me was clairvoyance. Now, this is not quite the same thing as creativity. It's a type of intuition. I would say creativity is one form of intuition. Clairvoyance is another manifestation of direct knowing, that's how I define intuition. Lots of people define intuition in different ways, but that's my favorite simple definition. Directly knowing something without having to think your way there. Just, you know it spontaneously. So I've had a number of clairvoyant experiences. Well, also telepathic, which is not quite the same thing, but knowing something that's happening at a distance like hundreds of miles away and then finding out that it really happened. That sort of thing happened to me not very many times, but I was really curious. And so when I discovered this theory of koshas, I became fascinated because it explains this. So talking about clairvoyance in the realm of koshas, here comes the next picture. So clairvoyance I just want to mention this. It's not the main topic today, but I just want to mention this partly because I think it's funny, but also to give you some clarity. You might have met people who think they know when the world is going to end. I've met quite a few. In fact, I didn't meet the person who made this prediction, but according to some modern so-called prophet, the world was supposed to end on May the 21st in 2001. And you might have noticed that it didn't. So a lot of people who think they're clairvoyant aren't. I've lived through the supposed end of the world, according to what people have told me, at least 5 times. And I've come to the conclusion that it's very good for your health. And when I actually did an internet search, I found that there's many more that I didn't know about, that the world is supposed to have ended during my lifetime more than 30 times. And that's just the publicly proclaimed wrong predictions. So my understanding of clairvoyance is that most claims to clairvoyance are delusional or false or both. But occasionally there's a real one. So that's something that's also explained within the theory of koshas, which we're going to look at now. So you might remember Amal was talking about these different levels of mind. Okay, so the conscious mind also has a Sanskrit name, Kama Maya Kosha. It's the realm of sensing, desiring, and acting. So it's our interface with the external world through the senses, and then we respond, and then we act through our motor organs, as we call them, arms and legs, etc. Mouth, we speak. That's another one. And I've found that it's easier for people to remember these if there's a kind of person attached. So it's kind of like these different levels. It's almost like we've got 5 different people inside of us. So the first one is a dog. So this dogs do this. Dogs, they sense the potato chip that you dropped. They desire it, and they act, and they come along and scoop it up with their tongue, and the dog is happy. So there's a part of us that functions like that. Not to say that we are dogs, but we share instincts and some functionality with them. The next level is that of memory and reasoning, and I personified this as a robot, because robots remember everything, and they can calculate incredibly well certain things, and they can do a lot of these things better than us. And it doesn't have to be a robot, of course. It could be your phone, which also remembers everything that you put inside it, and calculates way more rapidly than you can. So sometimes, but anyway, this is something that we can do with our subconscious, or Manomaya Kosha, we call it in Sanskrit. It means the thinking layer. And the next is the one we're going to look at today, the realm, it's Ati-Manas Kosha. I put the Sanskrit in there today. And there's more to it than this, but essentially it's where creative ideas come from, imagination, and also the seeds of personality, or samskaras, as we call them in Sanskrit. And I've represented that as this. You may recognize Salvador Dali. He was the great Spanish painter who was known for his genius, but also his eccentricity. He was, a big personality, colorful personality. The next two are, so these are the layers of intuition. There's more than one level of intuition. The next is where we have experienced wisdom and detachment. And I've personified this as Lao Tzu, the Chinese sage who apparently wrote the Tao Te Ching, I think, or one of the Chinese scriptures. And the most subtle level of intuition is that of just pure awareness, or a sense of knowing that we exist, and that everything that happens in our minds, we can experience it. and I personified this. It's also noted for, or it's where we feel tremendous bliss and illumination from inside. And I feel that was embodied by Ananda Moima, the great yogini Indian saint from last century. Okay, so that's the model, the overall model. But we're going to zoom in on the creativity one, the Atimanas Kosha, right? So this, oh yes, there's Salvador Dali, he came back to say hello. So this is sometimes called the supramental mind, and the qualities or the kind of experiences or insights it gives us access to our creativity, clairvoyance. As I said, that's a direct knowing of something that may manifest as telepathy. It may be that you have a clairvoyant dream of something that happened somewhere else, far away. But again, this is not. This is something that's often imagined, but seldom real, in my experience. It's also where the first expression of sanskaras is. So this is this what I call the seeds of personality. All the different complexes and inclinations and different personality traits that we have. And this is dominated by the Rajasic principle, if you're into the gunas, which is another subject we may cover somewhere else. Oh, I want to go back. I missed something there. Oh, no, I didn't. It's okay. All right, here we go. So this is my 100% accurate creativity test. Now, there are very few psychological tests that are 100% accurate. But I believe this is one, and it's very simple. It only has one question. And it answers the question of, am I creative or not? All right? And to find that out, I simply ask you one question. So I'll get you to stand up. Anyway, it's not good to sit all day. I want you to stand up physically in real life and just ask yourself this question. If you were ever a child, ask yourself, was I ever a child? And if you were, I want you to sit down. And you've answered the question, because all children are creative. And another Spanish painter, Pablo Picasso, he talked about this. He said, every child is an artist. The problem is staying an artist when you grow up. He, of course, had this insight as a tremendously creative person. But there's been a lot of research into creativity amongst children, comparing it to adults. And what they've found is that children, many people understand that children are more creative than adults, but we don't realize how much more creative. Apparently, 7-year-olds are about 48 times as creative as the average adult. That's a lot. So Picasso was onto something. So one way to tap into this level of ourselves, this part of ourselves, actually is through play. And especially play that reminds us of the kind of play we used to enjoy when we were young. And there are exercises that you can quite easily practice that work. They've tested these, and they get people to, you don't even have to play the game. You can just imagine that you're playing the game you used to play when you were 7. Do that for 15 minutes, and you'll come back, and there is a measurably greater creative output from you than there was before you did that. It's not that hard. It's a play. We like play. It's something that we're designed to do and enjoy, and it has this effect. One of the big criticisms of the modern education, and less modern, is that it doesn't help us to become more creative. Generally, it ignores creativity and just teaches us to reason and remember. So it focuses only on the Manomaya Kosha, the second level of mind, and largely ignores the higher levels of mind. This is not true of all education systems, but it's broadly very true. And I think it's limiting us. And in fact, if we we focus on, figuring out, as in this diagram or this illustration, if we focus on analytical thinking, trying to solve a problem, compared to, just wondering and daydreaming and let the solution come up by itself, if we focus on this rational thinking, it blocks creative thinking. John Cleese describes these as closed and open. So closed is this rational thinking, open is wondering and imagining and daydreaming. And they both are useful. They have different functions, and you can't do both at once. That's key. This is so well recognized that Walt Disney actually designed a floor plan for film script or film story creation, where in the dreamer room, say you've got this team, they're making a movie script together. In the dreamer's room, they can only come up with ideas. It's like brainstorming, kind of. So you can only make suggestions and come up with ideas. No, but it doesn't matter what kind of idea, anything you can imagine. And you're not allowed to criticize or consider whether it's a good idea or not, or comment on anyone else's. So that's exclusively for that function. He's separating the creative function from the analytical function, which is the spoiler room, the closed mode thinking. That's where they decide which ideas are good and which might make a great story. He added a third one, which is the realist room, and that's actually that's where the producer is, who makes the budget. So they decide, okay, you've got this fantastic idea, can we afford it? And so then that's literally the process they use, and they still use it today, I believe. But this is the actual diagram that Walt Disney created himself for the creative process for his teams. So I want to emphasize this point, and Ray Bradbury does it nicely. Don't think. Oh, by the way, I'll tell you who Ray Bradbury is. He was a great writer, and particularly a science fiction writer, but he was also regarded as a literary writer, and it's very unusual to be recognized in both fields. So he said, don't think. Thinking is the enemy of creativity. It is self-conscious, and anything that's self-conscious is lousy. You can't try to do things, you simply must do things. So I think this is very insightful. And the great Albert Einstein, of course, he's not known for being a creative artist, though he was actually a fantastic violinist. But in his intuitive process of discovery, thinking was the enemy. He said, I think 99 times I get nothing. It's useless. I stop thinking and let my mind swim in silence, and the truth comes to me. This is how intuition works. We engage intuition by going into silence. Now I'm going to quickly dip into what's actually the negative side of creativity, or possible negative side. Madeleine L'Engle, she wrote this famous story, what was it called again? A Wrinkle in Time, I think, was her book. They made it into a terrible film, but the book was wonderful. She said, artistic temperament sometimes seems like a battleground, a dark angel of destruction and a bright angel of creativity wrestling. So many creative artists, creative thinkers, even scientists, people that use their intuition a lot in their endeavors or their work, they actually suffer a lot emotionally and mentally. They're often eccentric, like Salvador Dali, or emotionally and mentally tortured. And the reason is because they're tapping into because the samskaras, or the seeds of personality, they get stirred up at the same time, and that becomes exaggerated and disturbed. And if they don't do something to manage it and control it and bring this into a harmonious flow, there can be serious results. So P.R. Sarkar, Pravat Ranjan Sarkar, said this: one who, in spite of possessing the creative faculty, does not seek for that transcendental entity, whose thought process has gone aberrant, this results in something strange and grotesque. The individual lives of such artists become a serious catastrophe. And there are many stories about this. It's sad, but beautiful at the same time. You may recognize this. If you recognize this musician, type his name in the chat. So you might be a fan. I sure am. This guitarist was so famous that at his peak of fame, they were painting on the subway walls in New York, Clapton is God. So he was popular. And somebody of you got it right. Thank you, Eric. Eric Clapton, the great guitarist who played with Cream and Blind Faith and Derek and the Dominoes and a lot of wonderful solo work. And he was the only guitarist to ever play on a Beatles album who was not a member of the Beatles, so far as I know. So he was tormented by himself when he became world famous very young. I mean, they were saying he was God when he was 19. And, you know, it's not a normal thing to cope with. And he became addicted to drugs and alcohol, and he was an alcoholic, genetically, which makes it way worse. And he went through a whole, I won't tell the story in detail, he writes about it in his autobiography beautifully, but essentially the only solution for him, after going through rehab and failing again, was to give up and ask for help from the divine. And it was a kind of, and he wasn't even that religious. I mean, he had a vague idea of God or some supreme being, and he got to this point of utter desperation and despair. And he fell on his knees and he asked for help from the Creator. And he said, in that moment, something miraculous happened. He lost the desire for alcohol completely for the rest of his life. So far, and he's fine. So that was interesting to me. It's actually a part of the methodology of the Alcoholics Anonymous organization. And if it's done with real depth, it can work miracles. And it saved him from tremendous suffering. I mean, maybe self-inflicted, but it's still suffering. So that's one of the methods which he stumbled upon. The main method in an Anandamaga meditation that helps us to tap into this level of mind and purify it and bring it into harmony with our personality is pratyahara. It means to withdraw the mind from the world, but also surrendering this feeling of agency and control is a part of pratyahara. So what Eric Clapton did was actually a part of this practice. Anandamurti's words, or Priyasaka's words, the importance of pratyahara sadhana, or this practice, is immense because it involves a harmonious blending of knowledge, devotion, and action, which is pretty much the whole system of meditation that we practice and all the other practices surrounding it. So it's a very, very core practice. This idea of being able to withdraw and let go of the world and turn our attention inward and focus there and discover what is within us and who we are. This is what pratyahara helps us to do. And if you're practicing this kind of meditation, you will have experienced that. Now I'm just going to tell you one more thing, because we're just a bit over time. This is the next higher level of intuition, and the reason I mention it is that for people who are suffering from disturbed emotions and mental imbalance or even mental illness, this next level of practice is particularly helpful. And that is the practice of dharana, or a very particular kind of practice, concentration, I should say. And there are simple forms of this, and there are more complex forms. Even you could say that simply focusing on the breath, mindfulness meditation, is a very simple form of dharana. But there are more advanced forms of that which have a much deeper effect. But this can also help to bring the mind into harmony if there is imbalance. And that's, as I said, that was these are the qualities of this level of mind, of intuition, of discrimination or wisdom and detachment, being able to let go of the world, right? Or let go of our desires or attachment to the world, actually. It's not letting go of the world, it's letting go of our addiction to certain experiences and being free of them. It also has another kind of intuition, which I'm not going to talk about today. So to sum up, these are some of the ways that you can develop your own creativity. Spend time in nature. That's the easy way to do it. And a lot of people go into nature for creative inspiration. Quiet your mind through meditation. This is like doing that, but you don't have to go anywhere. It's like you take it with you and you can practice it anywhere and you can deepen it. Take opportunities to play and get back into that childlike, spontaneous mode. Interact with others. Like as a musician, playing with other musicians is tremendously stimulating and it generates ideas and the flow of imagination. The last one is to have a higher purpose, adopt a higher purpose. If you are an artist or a scientist even, use it to do something to bring some good into the world, to help people, to help relieve suffering, to make lives better, other people's lives better, everyone's lives better. So having a higher purpose actually releases intuition. So that is, oh, and one more, that is surrender, the idea of surrender in the mind. That's all I'm going to tell you about creativity and intuition today. And I'm going to try and remember what we're supposed to do next. I have it written somewhere, but I can't find it.
The
Tell
next
me.
thing is a breakout room.
Oh, great.
And did you have, well, I guess
We
the
have a
question,
question in there in the script.
yes. What methods work best for you when seeking inspiration or ideas?
There you go.
Yeah.
So we're going to have 2 breakout rooms?
I was thinking of splitting into 3, 2 English and 1 Spanish, but what do you think would work better? That would give oh, wait, one of the English rooms only has 2 people right now. I'm gonna move you. Okay, there. We're now pretty balanced. And about 15 minutes for the breakout rooms. Does that sound right, schedule-wise?
It's a bit long. I think it's going to take us over because I went a bit late. Make it 12.
12, okay. Okay,
Alrighty.
and oops. So you will, again, I've pre-assigned you, but let me know if you have trouble getting there. Welcome back. A few more seconds for everyone else.
Uh,
Wait, sorry, go on, go on, Karan.
Just going to say we're all back now.
You interrupted us at a perfect point where Dada was talking all about his stuffed animal and Bhavana was sharing her stuffed animal.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It was such a moment of creativity.
I want Bhavana to tell everyone about her stuffed animal.
Yeah.
Can you, Bhavana?
Yeah, like Teddy is a stuffed animal for me. It's like I talk with him, I would say, and just have my own space.
Mhm.
That's wonderful. Yeah. One of the reasons I mentioned it is because one of my favorite musicians is John Anderson from Yes. He's an incredible songwriter, singer.
Mhm.
And I saw a video and I saw he had a toy stuffed lion. And it's
Mhm.
not, and I actually have two stuffed lions. So his lion is the same as my other lions. It's exactly the same one. This is the lion that came to Brazil with me. It's a different lion. But my other lion, which is back in California, is the same lion as John Anderson's, and he's a creative genius if there ever was one. So there you go. We're allowed stuffed animals.
Did you bring an otter?
No, the otters are taking care of my room at home.
Okay.
They don't like going in planes. But my lion, he likes traveling. He's an adventurer.
I
So
have
That is nice. That.
let's hear from folks. What are some of your favorite ways of getting ideas and getting into a creative flow? Just quickly give us a couple of favorites.
Well, one of my favorites is having children around to play with.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Krishna Prema was talking about that. She has fun with that. Yeah, that works. Others? What for me, it's playing the guitar. That gives me other ideas, not just about the guitar, but about different things.
Yeah, we also talked about in our room about being in nature.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah, the power of nature. Dada was talking about when he goes on his walks. I was talking about when I take my swim in the ocean, that no matter the even though it's the same path I take every time, there's always like something new visually with fish and the different coral, and I'm always looking for a shark. The imagination does start going sometimes when I look in that dark section over to the left. There's this one part when I swim, it's they call it Baby Beach, and so it's all big coral heads that don't allow so the waves don't really come crashing in. So children, they love to take children there. But there's one section that you can go and it gives you a pretty straight path outwards. And but there's a section where it opens up, and that opens up more to more of the ocean. And we've had some shark attacks here. Here on Maui. Maui is one of the more islands that has shark attacks, and we've had some pretty tragic ones recently. And there's been sightings of bigger sharks in these kind of waters. And so the other day, I swear. And so now every time I get to that little section, I look over there and I'm like, do I want to look? And my heart starts to race a little bit. But the rest of the time, my mind is very subtle and I love my swim. And like I was saying, I use the word, the world kind of muffles out. So, and I find myself coming, if I go in with a question or any kind of anxiety, I live near my mom, and she'll be like, if I'm at all like out of character, a little tension, go for a swim. Just go for a swim. Definitely balances me out. So
it's a form of sense withdrawal.
yes, yeah,
Interesting.
definitely, yeah.
Cool. Thank you, everyone. I think we've got something more we're supposed to do next, which was, I think I'm supposed to sing a song. Oh, no, we've got some more Q&A time, haven't we?
A
Yeah.
little bit more.
Let's see if
Okay.
anybody-
Well, Dada, I have a question for you. So I
Hmm.
agree with you about the 7-year-old, and I know you were talking about ways that we can do it, but I think that's the most difficult. You know, when we're young, we are creative, and then we lose touch with it. And it's like, what could you tell somebody in their 20s, 30s, 40s right now? Like, I know you gave some examples, but something very direct, like, that's something they could do that you would think would be a key point that they could do right now, tomorrow, to start and getting in touch with that creativity
Okay,
again.
there's two exercises I give people. this is apart from meditation. Meditation, everybody has to meditate. That's rule number one. But other ways to do this, right? One is it's a scheduling exercise. So, and I got this from John Cleese, the comedian. He teaches creative thinking for all kind of organizations and stuff. And he has a technique which is very simple. He says you have to allot time where you have no work. So it's kind of, most people, at least where I live, in Northern California, everyone's all busy. And if you ask them how you, very often they'll say, I'm so busy. And it's like they're kind of proud of it because it's like there's this work ethic and everybody's supposed to be busy making money or whatever. But actually, if you think you're busy all the time, it blocks creativity. So you have to reserve, and I generally recommend at least 2 hours a week where they have no work. And there's, so the only job there is to have no job. And then you have to guard it like a dragon because work will always try and encroach on that free space. And I gave this exercise to one of my students some years ago, and she took out 2 hours every Sunday, and she said had an enormous effect on her ability to just, this is the place where I can go and I have nothing to worry about. And she said it worked really, really well. And I use it myself. It's very effective. So reserving space and guarding that space and time is number one. And the other one is, and again, I've given this to students in my creativity classes, is if you're an adult, if you're feeling stuck, think of a game that you loved playing when you were 7 and go and play it every week with, preferably either with children or adults. For her, it was football, soccer, real football. And so I told her, find a local team and go and play with them on the weekend. And she started doing it. She said it was fantastic. She was a computer programmer and she was having trouble getting into this flow where you get, you generate new ideas. And she said it worked really well with her because it released something inside. It reconnected her to that childlike mode within her mind. So there's a couple of simple, what I call quick fixes.
Thank you, Dada. Yeah, that's really helpful.
There are lots more where they came from. My basic course on creative thinking is 9 hours long, so you've got the short version.
I really like the idea of setting some time aside like that. I think that's really
an
important.
Easy one, and it works really well. It works basically for everyone.
Really, that's great. That's really valuable. Thank you.
Fun.
Yes, but if you're ready to play the song, we're ready for the song. Yeah.
Okay. Sing a song. Just want to see if this is.
Yeah.
Oh.
I need just a minute to set up too. So.
Oh, thanks. Well, while you're doing that, I'm going to tell you briefly how I wrote the song and where the idea came from, because that's today's idea day. And sure enough, I learned a chord from my guitar mentor, my guitar guru, if you like. His name's Sukadev. He's this amazing Norwegian guitarist friend of mine. And he taught me a new chord, which goes like this. And it's if you're a guitarist, it's just a G, but you add a sixth. And it sounds like this. And that led to the whole song, basically. I had no idea what it was going to be, but the whole thing came out of that chord. It's a bit weird. I mean, it's not like I had some divine inspiration or anything. I just had a guitar chord. But then I got ideas and I felt something. Wait on, I got to turn on original sound. That's important. All right, so it goes like this, and I'll give you just brief background. So this song is, once I got the music worked out, then I had to figure out some words, and I had to have song has to have a story of some sort. So it's very simple. I'm listening to, there's a popular saying that prayer is talking to God and meditation is listening to God. I actually disagree with this, but anyway, it's a nice idea because I think meditation can be both or either or both. But anyway, the idea here is that I'm listening to God. And so the lyrics weren't even written by me. This is what God tells me. So that kind of helps to take me out of the equation. And it kind of worked fairly well, I thought. So it goes like this. You have the words there for us, Kroon? Oh, there we go. I want you to know that I'll always be your friend, for I know what it means to be alone. If you want, I can show that I really do intend to take care of this seed that I have sown. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. Everywhere. Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere. If you learn to see true, the sunlight and the dew will always appear as something new. I am right before you, but you're always looking through to this world where I'm hidden from your view. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. Love is everywhere, can you feel it? Love is everywhere. 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 There you go.
Beautiful song, Dada. Thank you.
You know, you play a new chord and you never know what's going to lead you.
All right, so we have just a little open time if anybody wants to share anything, or this is our last live session for the year of 2022. We'll be resuming back in January on the 7th, but if anybody has anything to share, any questions they would like to ask, or it's your moment, or if Dada or either one of the Dadas have anything to share.
Blessed to have a PLT addition in my 2021. I guess that's the blessing. Thank you, team.
Thank you,
you.
Bhavana.
Actually, yes, the other day we were talking in our meeting that today is going to be the last of this year and we should have some special thing. But didn't come up with what, no. Yeah.
Of course, the first thing that came to mind was a potluck dinner. Oh wait, how are we going to do that?
Well, we could share recipes.
Yeah, we could have shared recipes. That would have been
I
good.
actually invented a really good recipe last night.
Hmm.
I'll, you know what? I'll share it with you, Krishna Prema, and you can put it in on the.
That would be fantastic, Dada.
The members area.
That would be wonderful.
I do. There is something neat I learned yesterday. I met with Asta. I meet with Asta every couple of weeks because we're working on this project together. So Asta Rami from last week, right? And she introduced me to her son, who's grown up. He's in his early 20s, I think. And she said actually it was her son who introduced her to Anandamaga
Mm.
because he was a student, when he was very small, he was a student of Didi Anandagunamrita in her school. And that's how she came to how Asta came to Anandamaga. So I thought that was pretty cool. And he's an adult now, but yeah, that was nice to discover. So he's known Didi since he's small, right? So you can imagine she's probably like his little her aunt or something, his aunt or something. Because I know school teachers who teach small children, and they get kind of attached to the kids because they're so kind of innocent. I'm sort of thinking about that now because, as I told you when I first arrived, not all you were here. I'm in Brazil. I'm at this Anandamaga community, and they have a school. And just an hour and a half ago, I guess, I was at the school, and they're having a big celebration for the year, and all the little kids, they're graduating from preschool. So they're like 5 or 6, and they're super cute in these little costumes that they all made, and they're all getting, Father Christmas came and he's giving them presents, and they're all excited like it, and they all sang songs, and it was a lot of fun. So that was so I'm thinking about that. And it was interesting watching the children, how before the thing started, some of them came early, and what do they do when they see each other? Immediately they go and play.
Yeah.
Right? It's no question. So that's in that they're like that. That's they're playful. They just always want new things. They're curious. So that's the state of mind that if you can trick yourself in some way of getting into that mode of thinking, that sort of mood, then ideas will come for sure.
Yeah, when I go to my niece's house, I show up and the first thing she runs up to me, gives me a hug, and she says, "Hi, Auntie Christy," and then she says, "Can we go play?"
Exactly.
Right.
And then she hands me all the characters I'm going to be. She always is one character, and I'm always like 5, and I have to remember these names. And she doesn't, thankfully, she keeps the names the same most of the time, but I'm just like, I'm trying to remember Minimus, the Pegasus, and then she does have the main characters of like a cartoon, or like, right now the little My Little Ponies are back in whatever. But there's like 20 of them now, and they have like Twinkle Star and Rainbow Shine, and I'm sitting here like, she's like, but they have a little, they're marking on it. That's how you remember. And I'm just like, I can't. So yeah, but it's amazing. But that's exactly what she wants to do. And so for that hour, we just play. That's all we do. She creates, and she's a storyteller, and I, get a little bit of interaction or interjection in there, and. But yeah.
But
Yeah.
I did a course in writing stories for children, and one of the first things they told us, they said, look, it's very important to remember, children are as smart as adults. I mean, they learn entire languages, all kind of stuff without, just by soaking them up. They're as smart as adults, but the difference is that they don't have experience and they don't have context. So they are eager to gather experiences. That's why they're so curious. But don't underestimate them. They're as smart as you or me.
Yeah.
It's shocking because we assume, it's a bias, right? We assume that they're not as smart as us, but it's not true.
Well, I'm thinking about the playing. I'm remembering a camping trip a couple of months ago now, in the sort of campground where families often go, and just people watching, right, of the kids from the campsites around us getting together, and oh, here's a pile of rocks, so we'll have a fort, and anyway, it was just fun.
Well, the New Zealand government did something really interesting a long time ago in the 1980s. There was a big expo in Australia scheduled, 1988 it was. And all these different countries, they have their pavilion, and different, even big organized, Mitsubishi and big companies. The New Zealand government had their pavilion, but the way that they approached it was they decided that all the ideas for what they were going to do in their pavilion were going to come from school children. So they did a national competition, and that's what they did. They sourced ideas from school kids all across the country, and then the adults kind of implemented a lot of it. But there was a competition at the expo between all the different pavilions, and the New Zealand one won. So the kids outsmarted all the creative experts and geniuses of Mitsubishi and the United States and Japan and Ghana. It was a bunch of kids.
And of course, you're completely unbiased in telling this story.
Yes, because I was a child in New Zealand, but I was not one of those children. Yeah.
Fantastic.
There you go. Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
Or what do we do? No, it's really, it's not, Christmas is it's Jesus' birthday. So we should sing happy birthday to Jesus. Who does that? Why don't people sing happy birthday to Jesus?
I know, really.
It doesn't seem right. Here is funny because, everybody is, there's Brazil, everybody's Christian. And so in the school they had a little Christmas thing because, the kids are mostly from the local community. So their parents are either Catholics or evangelicals. Actually, they're mostly evangelicals in this area. And so they had quite a bit of Christmassy stuff there that they can relate to. So tell us what's happening coming up, Krishna.
Oh, yeah. So what's coming up? Well, we're going to take a 2-week break, and then we'll come back on January 7th with new live sessions. And I'm really excited. We've been reaching out to a lot of our teachers from the past, and a lot of them have agreed to join us for our live sessions. So we're going to have a jam-packed year of just covering a lot of topics, going deeper, expanding, and kind of doing the style of the interview and then having them come for the live Q&A. And also we are creating a course that's not so much for the group that's here, but for, people that you want to maybe, to introduce to meditation. We're creating a course called PLT 101. And it's a very basic course. It's going to be free to everybody. And we're going to even launch a couple webinars to introduce people, and it involves a little bit of guided meditation. It talks a little bit about the philosophy. It talks about about being a human being. And then we get into, there's a guided meditation from Dada, and then there's also an asana practice, guided meditation audio file that they can use. And then on top of that, then we have an introduction to gratitude and planetary leadership training, and how it involves them. So we're really excited about that course launching. We'll be launching soon, and we'll definitely share it with all of you guys. I'm trying to think what else is going on. Let's see.
Well, we've got I don't know if this is what about are we doing the design training?
Yeah, so in January too, Karuna, also Clara, she was in our first session of the 99 days. She also was in our Rawa program. She is going to be holding a graphic design course for non-designers. So it's going to be a 3-week live, and then there'll be recorded things within our network that you can access. And she's going to be taking us on how to create I'm not exactly sure, I think it's kind of focusing on just real basic things, how to create some, flyers, things like that we want to. And go on, Donna.
Well, the idea came up in a conversation I was having with her, because she's a very, pretty high level professional design consultant. And people keep asking her to make flyers and stuff, and she's too busy. And she gets overburdened. And I said, well, look, why don't you, this is like below your pay grade. Why don't we teach some people the basics? So many of us can make a simple social media post that looks nice, or some sort of digital flyer, or even for something to print, and at least it works. It doesn't have to be a work of art, but the tools are so easy to use now that even with a few simple lessons, you can learn to make something that looks surprisingly good.
Yeah, and that'll be in January on three consecutive Sundays
Oh, great.
as the same time as this course. So and then like I said, there'll be recordings for you to watch also during the week that will help. But it'll be about an hour and a half class, and we're hoping to have in both English and Spanish. We're hoping to have translation. And yeah, we're looking forward to that too. So I think that's what's on the agenda. I'm not sure if there's other things, but we're always trying to create new content.
There's something which is we're just so people know that I think you're all familiar with the Bliss Timer app.
Yes, thank you, Dada.
Our app developer Bhishma, he's always working on it. It's always gradually improving, and we're in the next few weeks we'll be launching a sort of adding all new content and removing some of the existing content. Because here you go, there's the Bliss Timer. Thanks, Karun. And what we've decided, what we want to do is slowly integrate it more closely with PLT. So we'll be kind of cross promoting and using it to help our PLT members to practice more regularly and as a tool and we're going to adapt it so it's more user friendly for that. So I think that's going to it'll take a little more time, but I think that's going to be very useful. And I got another idea for promotion, but that'll be for our meeting tomorrow. But I don't want to forget it. I'll tell it to you.
We don't need to write it down somewhere.
Yeah, right. I'll tell you about it we'll have a little test meeting.
Yeah. So, but yeah, so on all of that, we're just, it's been a great year for 2022, and we appreciate all of you guys being here today. The community is growing, and I'm up to 14,874 minutes. Whoa, Karun. But yes, I mean, the community is all about all of you.
You've been on the Bliss Timer?
Yes.
Yeah.
14,000, how long is it? Oh, 14,000 minutes.
Not hours, minutes.
Oh, okay.
But still.
I was thinking, that's not possible.
Yes, I use it almost every day.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you helped to create some of the content.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, some of the recordings.
I admit I don't usually listen to you as part of that, but
I don't care.
yes, but the timer, for those of you that don't know, you can get guided meditations by Dada if you want, or you can go directly to the kirtan and then silent meditation, and it will finish with a little bit more kirtan or a little bit more Dada. And I helped record some of that and edit some of it.
Wonderful.
Yes. No, I agree. Absolutely. We use it all the time. So anyway, what I was saying about the global community, even though we're going to be off for 2 weeks, the community will be on. We're still going to be going and sharing. So I hope that you guys will stay in contact through that. And then definitely we will be back on in January 7th. And I think we were talking about, I think it was science. I'm trying to remember our title for science, philosophy, and consciousness. Yeah, conscious.
That's right. Yeah, the theme for January.
Yeah.
January and February?
I think it might extend into February, but right now for sure for January.
Cool.
So yeah, so we're really looking forward to that. And like I said, we're always creating new ideas, and we love your inspiration. I had a great conversation with Bhavana last week about a lot of different ideas too. So please feel free to share. Please feel free to, stay in touch. And on that note, do you want to do the waterfall?
Oh yeah. I guess I can. Oh, you do it. You're
okay. So
an expert.
well, this is your inspiring idea. All right. So we're going to put in something from today, or it can be from, anything that's inspiring you or something that you enjoyed today into the chat, and we will wait. I'll give everybody the countdown from 3 to push the return button so we can all see it flow. Okay. I think give everybody another couple seconds. All right. So on the countdown from 3. So 3, 2, 1.
All right.
So we've got, let's see, we've got Dada said breakout room session. Devesh said happy year. I said breakout room. We have Vijay said spiritual community and connection. Yes. Yes. Thank you, Devesh. Thank you. Karun said kirtan and sharing laughter and time with friends. Dada said just to be here and connect with everyone. And Bhavana said song today's topic and presentation, breakout room, Q&A, everything. Thank you. Yes, and I think that's it. I don't think there's anything else to cover today. Again, just thank you. I hope you guys all have a good 2 weeks ahead of you and a happy birthday to Jesus and and a good start of the year. So and we'll keep you posted on the PLT 101, and we'll have a newsletter out on the 1st of January around that time with all the what's going to be happening, who will be attending, who will be presenting at our lives in January too. So, all right, on that note, namaskar.
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 Bless you, everyone. Namaskar.
Happy New
Namaskar, everyone.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Prospero año.